As tarantula keepers, how many times have you heard, ooh, tarantulas are just brown, hairy spiders? Yeah. Well, if that was the case, how would you explain this? Or this? Or this? Or this? Or Tom Moran's 2 videos on all the different tarantulas that are the color of the rainbow? In today's video, we're going to be talking about a special one. My name's Jay. This is Jay's Cryptic Creatures. Come on, let's learn something together. The Xenesthis genus offers some truly breathtaking tarantulas. Most people, even arachnophobes, are hard to be unimpressed by looking at some photos of this. The problem was, and is, they can be a bit pricey. Now, the price has come down a bit in recent times, but it is still an expensive spider. I got the pair we'll be rehousing today from Steve at Arachnoid Den back in May of 2024, and in this video we'll be upgrading them to a significantly larger enclosure, allowing them room to grow. I've raised this species once in the past, and that one specimen matured out male. So fingers crossed that one of these two will be a female. All right, let's go ahead and get these tarantulas moved on over. All right, we are going to use 2 of very similar enclosures, so I'm just going to go through one of them. They're both going to be large critter keepers. They measure approximately 12 inches long, 8 inches deep, and about 9 inches tall. We have a generous amount of substrate, about 4 or 5 inches or so. This is my typical substrate blend of Reptisoil, vermiculite, sphagnum moss. We have a variety of fake plants, water dish, starter burrow, and hide. Again, a pretty typical setup for this species. Again, this is probably a bit large for their current size, but they grow really, really quick, and they will certainly utilize the space in the long run. In my experience, the Xenesthis can be a bit skittish, and they do have pretty long legs, and they do use them. They are rather quick. Not old world quick, but still rather quick. So want to give them room to move and retreat. So with all of that being said, let me strap up and we'll get these, hopefully girls, moved on over. All right, that was a relatively smooth rehousing. As I mentioned during and showcased, um, my experience with Xenesthis is they like to burrow and they like to hide. So that's why we got a bigger enclosure to give them room to scuttle away and feel secure. Another kind of highlight of that rehousing is you have to be a bit prepared for the unexpected. I didn't expect for the one specimen to be so buried into the substrate. Uh, the key here is to take your time, be calm, and try as much as you can not to inflict undue stress on the tarantula. I really can't state enough how beautiful this genus and species is. They do come with a price tag, and I was standoffish for quite a while. But watching those colors appear for the first time and seeing the pattern, it is really something to behold. I would highly recommend, if you have the means, grab one or a couple of these for your collection. You won't be disappointed. Well, with all that being said, please like, subscribe, and we can continue learning about tarantulas, centipedes, boa constrictors, tegus, and other cryptic creatures together. Until next time.